Republican frontrunner Donald Trump is facing more scrutiny over his tax plan today. According to a nonpartisan research group, Trump's across-the-board tax cuts will add trillions to the federal debt. Meanwhile, Trump's competitors are taking aim. Even a former president is piling on. Chief White House correspondent Major Garrett is in Washington with Trump's response.
So you're back. How does it feel?
I'm back.
On Fox, Bill O'Reilly asked Donald Trump if he needed to be kinder and more mature.
I think I'm a nice person. I have great relationships.
This in reaction to the Republican frontrunner calling Florida Senator Marco Rubio, now gaining on Trump, a clown. Rubio in turn called Trump's campaign a freak show.
I don't really know him, and then all of a sudden he attacks me about nothing.
Rubio followed Trump on Fox and said, "Back at you."
It's very clear he's a very insecure person.
Retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson, who was running very close to Trump nationally, said it looks as if the billionaire businessman has peaked.
It really kind of depends on whether he continues to put material out that people resonate with, and doesn't, become too thin-skinned.
A full day after Trump revealed his tax plan, he still refused to get into specifics.
It's a big simplification and really great for middle-income families.
The plan seeks across-the-board tax cuts for all federal taxpayers and slashes the corporate tax rate. Independent analysis says it will reduce revenue by $10 trillion over 10 years. Trump said he plans to cut federal spending.
Tremendous amounts of money.
Okay, so you're going to go with a cleaver through.
Tremendous abuse.
All right.
Asked to survey it all, former President Bill Clinton said the GOP race is feeding on frustration and lacks focus.
I think they believe that authenticity is created by making your campaign look as much like a reality TV show as possible.
And when asked about Trump repeatedly calling Hillary Clinton the worst Secretary of State in history?
Well, the thing about branding is you can be fact-free.
Major Garrett joins us now from Washington. Major, we haven't heard that much from Bill Clinton this election cycle. Given that the Clintons and Trump have a relationship that goes back for years, what do you make of Bill Clinton targeting Trump now?
Well, so part of the timing here is built and driven by the Clinton Global Initiative, which is always structured around the United Nations General Assembly. So that is just a coincidence that Bill Clinton is on a public stage right now, and there's this huge Republican presidential fight, and Donald Trump is leading all that. That would not have been true 8 or 9 months ago when all this was put on the schedule. That being said, you cannot ignore the fact that Bill Clinton is wading into the Trump factor on the Republican side of this presidential race, and doing so in a derogatory way, saying you can't insult yourself to the White House, you can't call everyone in American politics doofuses, and you've got to at some point get down to the substance of how you're going to change the country for the better. All of that is part and parcel of a incipient Democratic argument against Trump that he is simply unqualified to be president of the United States, both as a matter of policy and as temperament, in the off chance he secures the Republican nomination. Clinton also conceded that he has been far less visible and far less publicly active, and even less active behind the scenes than he was in Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2008. And he said that's not only his choice, but the choice of the campaign. This time around, Bill Clinton is really letting Hillary Clinton rise or fall almost entirely on her own merits, and not trying to be the co-campaign manager or the co-communications director publicly, or the campaign manager behind the scenes. He's letting Hillary do this, and she will fare as well or as poorly as she does, largely on her merits and her capabilities, and in ways he simply did not appear to be in 2008. Bill Clinton appears to be comfortable with that.
Major, what about the bigger picture? Where does this 2016 race stand right now? And what is the next measure of where it is that the candidates stand, aside from polls?
Right, so you have polls and you have debates, but the other measure is how much are you raising for your campaign? Not how much does your super PAC have, but how much is your campaign actually raising? And we've learned, we should never have forgotten this, by the way, but we have relearned the importance of actual campaign donations and fundraising by the examples of who? Rick Perry of Texas and Scott Walker of Wisconsin. Both successful governors, Rick Perry a former, Scott Walker still a current governor, who could not carry on because they couldn't raise the money they needed to pay their staffs and do the kind of basic things you need to undertake day to day in a campaign. So middle of October, we're going to get the next quarter's fundraising numbers, and everyone's going to be sort of measuring themselves against one another. And how much did Donald Trump either suppress fundraising across the board or make some candidates, like maybe Ben Carson or Carly Fiorina, more worthy of Republican investment dollars, if you will, and campaign contributions than, say, Marco Rubio or John Kasich or Governor Chris Christie. All of that will be measured, and it will be a very big break point for understanding which campaigns can really put on a push leading up to the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire primary, because you need to have that day-to-day campaign dollars to keep your campaign and all of its staff workers and all of its field operatives not only paid, but paid well and eager to work for you. So that will be the next measurement outside of polls and debates.
All right, Major Garrett, thank you very much.
Sure.